There's this myth, this urban myth, that simply because we put out the uncensored mouse, and that, by the way, Mickey used to shoot other animals.
Okay, so uncensored mouse were public domain Mickey Mouse comics, yes?
We had a relationship with the late Bill Blackbeard, and he had this. Oh yeah, did you know that?
No.
Sorry. Yeah.
Wow.
And he had these giant archives of stuff, and he would come to us and say, "Here's a whole bunch of comics which are in the public domain." And he came to us with these Mickey Mouse strips and said, "They're in the public domain," and we said, "No, they're not. It's Disney. They're not. Disney's Mickey Mouse is not the public domain." He said, "Oh, yes, they are. They are in the public domain." And we said, "Well, they'll sue us." No, they won't sue you, because this is what the copyright law went into effect. If they sue you, then they have to go to court, and they have to admit that it's in the public domain. We don't have any money to go to court. We can't take the risk. And we just decided.
But Disney didn't know that.
Right, and so we thought we would publish it anyway. We had 4 issues in the can, 2 issues published.
Yeah.
And we got a cease and desist letter from Disney. And they said, essentially stop it. And we said,
Well, remember, this is the same Disney that actually sued a preschool for painting Mickey Mouse or Snow White or whatever it was on their wall. But I figured these aren't mean people. They have to be practical, and they can't let word out that Mickey shot people. And they did find one technicality, and that was that Bill was wrong. Bill was an amazing man. Bill was wrong on one little detail. Out of all the hundreds of strips, one wasn't in the public domain. So that's kind of a bummer. And Disney said, look, we really don't want you to cure it, which we know is going to be your next comment, by just taking that panel out. And we just had a conversation, and I said, tell you what, let us sell out our inventory, including some stuff that's about to go to press, and we'll limit it to those 2. And sorry about the entertainment tonight things on TV and all the press, but, you know, what can we do about that?
we're also sorry about that.
And Disney, and they're not known for this at all. It's just, I believe in just striking up long-term relationships. And the deal was, you guys can make all the money you want, it just then has to stop and don't put out number 3 or 4.
And for God's sakes, don't tell anybody it's public domain.
Or the Mickey shoots.
Or the Mickey shoots.
Yeah, well, I guess that's...
Damn.
I guess that's out.
Yeah,
Let's talk about some creator-owned books here real quick, because we are getting towards the end of our hour. So we're going to skip past our weird horror with much regret. And let's talk about some creative visions. Let's talk about the Image launch as briefly as we can. So I want to make sure we have a little time for the Ultraverse at the end. Image Comics, of course, are still a force in the business. It certainly changed the business when very talented members, the founding members of Image, decided to leave Marvel Comics and strike out on their own. How did that end up? Defect is the word we're using? It's like they came from Cuba or something. So, how did Malibu come to facilitate this watershed event in comic book history?
Well, we've been talking to Rob Liefeld for a long time. Rob had told us how unhappy he was with the situation, and Rob and all of the other guys that were selling a ton of copies were all talking to each other about, how they could make their deals better or whatever. And so Rob wanted to do some stuff that didn't involve Marvel, but he didn't want to sour his Marvel deal. I don't know how he thought he was going to accomplish that. But we started making some deals with him, trying to do some stuff. He was absolutely picking stuff that he thought would anger Marvel, but he thought he could get away with. Well, we were on board for that.
Getting away with it or angry with it?
We didn't care if Marvel was angry as long as we got away with it. And then we get this call from Rob that the big thing is going to happen in New York, and if you want to be part of it, you better be in New York.
With every publisher bidding on it.
And
more than we were bidding.
We weren't even really clear what that was necessarily, but something was going to go down, and it was going to be Todd and Eric and Rob and whoever else they could pull together. And so Tom and Chris and I got a plane ticket to flew to New York. We met with Image, it wasn't Image, it was Todd basically speaking for the group in the morning, and he said, well, we're going to go talk to Marvel and DC, and tell them what's on our minds, we do not know what's going to happen, and we will see you for dinner. Okay, so then we went and
we went to the movies.
We went to the movies, bumped around New York all day.
And the big thing they wanted was just to few letters to their names on like the Friends of Comics at the, arcs they're doing.
They wanted credit, they wanted ownership, and they wanted a different profit split than they wanted
Radicals.
before.
Communists.
And they had a conversation. I don't know what their meeting was like at DC, but they had a conversation with Terry Stewart at Marvel, and Terry Stewart at Marvel said, "I can't make that deal with you guys. The best deal I have is Epic." And Ski might remember this. I believe Terry Stewart.
Wait, Ski, where are you?
Right there.
Oh, hey.
And Todd.
He didn't like us at the time.
This according to Todd McFarlane. Todd said that what Terry Stewart told him was that the characters are more important than the creators. So you guys do what you have to do. And Todd came back to dinner that night and he was really pissed off. And he wasn't necessarily going to sign with us. He was going to do something separate from Marvel. And Dark Horse, I think Dark Horse was in the running, but they wouldn't go for the same split that we would go for. We were the only ones that would go for the split that they wanted. And when we broke down the numbers, it still works.
Sure.
And the Image guys really took a huge chance coming with us. First of all, the people bidding were the only ones that I don't think we gave in advance. Unless I'm wrong, I don't think we did. And our page rates were a 10th, a 20th of what they're used to getting. But remember, they would be having an incredible share of profits. But again, we just had to be careful, and we like being in business. So
Yeah, but I think the numbers for Image #1 came in fairly high, and then because the book was late, it had to be resolicited, and the numbers came in even higher.
the Youngblood from Rob was the first independent comic ever that #1 on the sales chart.
And then what happened is all the other 6 guys said, I got to have a piece of that. And they're very competitive. And I think it was Todd McFarlane who looked at Liefeld's 600,000 copies and said, I could beat that. And then they sort of became more committed to the idea.
And then, and I'm saying this knowing that I had like almost exaggerated, but drive to bridges before Tom would jump off, because each of the Image guys wanted to outdo from a marketing standpoint the prior person's one, which makes all the sense in the world. You just may want to kill yourself trying to come up with something better than the thing you were genius about before. But one of the things our team was great at was pulling, something out of our sleeve every single month for 10 years.
Also, it helps that those guys were some of the most popular creators in the industry at the time. So they,
Great time.
yeah.
Fantastic.
And Malibu benefited from this, even though, it wasn't a long relationship. You published, how long did you publish?
It was as long as they promised.
Yeah.
It was a year plus a year to be late.
Yeah, we benefited tremendously. We were able to build up the company. We were able to create the in-house coloring department and build that up. We were able to hire more people.
We postponed the Ultraverse. A lot of people say, did you do that